the police, we don't talk to the police. Why y'all talking to the popo? Girl, we ain't talking to no popo. We can't get caught talking to the popo. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Somebody teach me how to speak Spanish. So I heard they was about to do a stream talking about my body bags. I'm still on my 10 fingers. I'm still on my 10 fingers. So if my son get on there lying on me, he lying. And this how you gonna know he lying. I've been married 3 times. 5 years the first time, 10 years the second time, and another 10 years now.
Well, what happened?
So this how y'all gonna know he's lying. And if you get on there lying,
This is not a drill. This is not a rumor. This is full-blown chaos with extra seasoning because Karlissa Saffold just stepped into the spotlight and chose absolute destruction. Not shade, not subtlety, not let me mind my business. No, she came in swinging like it's the final round of a WWE match and everybody's getting hit with verbal chairs and the target. Oh, it's messy. We're talking about Blueface's baby mama getting dragged across the internet timeline like it's a reality show reunion gone wrong. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Because Karlissa didn't just drag, she made it crystal clear that she thinks Blueface should drop everything and go be with Stunna Girl instead. Now pause. Let that sink in. Because this isn't just a suggestion. This is a full-blown public declaration that has fans gasping, group chats exploding, and timelines looking like a battlefield. It's giving plot twist nobody asked for, but everybody is watching. And the way she said it. Whew, the tone wasn't calm. It wasn't diplomatic. It was fiery, unapologetic, and dripping with that I said what I said energy. The kind of energy that doesn't just spark drama, it ignites a wildfire that spreads faster than gossip in a family WhatsApp group. The internet didn't just react. It collapsed, memes started flying, reactions poured in, and suddenly everybody had an opinion. Some people were screaming, "She's right." Others were like, "This is getting out of control." And then you had the Chaos crew just sitting back enjoying the mess like it's a premium streaming series. But here's the real twist. Because behind all the yelling, dragging, and viral moments, there's something deeper brewing. Something that makes this feel less like random drama and more like a setup for something even bigger. Because when someone goes this hard, this publicly. Now to really understand why this situation blew up the way it did, we gotta rewind the timeline because this didn't just randomly fall out of the sky. This drama has been building quietly, like tension in a reality show before the big fight episode. And at the center of it all, Karlissa Saffold, Blueface, and a whole messy circle of relationships that have been complicated. Let's be honest. If you've been paying attention, you already know this dynamic has never been peaceful. It's always been a mix of loyalty, conflict, side comments, and moments that feel like they're one step away from exploding. And Karlissa, she's never been the type to sit quietly when she feels something isn't right. Over time, little cracks started showing. Not major headlines at first, just subtle tension. Side remarks in lives, energy shifts in interactions. Those moments where people pretend everything is fine, but you can feel it's not. Fans started picking up on it immediately because, let's face it, the internet notices everything. And once people noticed, they started digging. Old clips resurfaced, past arguments got replayed, and suddenly it became clear that this wasn't just a one-time disagreement. This was a pattern, a build-up, a situation that had been brewing behind the scenes way longer than anyone initially realized. Meanwhile, Karlissa's tone started changing. Not dramatically at first, but enough to raise eyebrows. She went from neutral to slightly irritated, then from irritated to clearly fed up. You could see it in how she responded to comments, the way she addressed certain topics, the little hints she dropped without fully saying what she meant. And that's where things started getting interesting. Because when someone like Karlissa starts hinting instead of speaking directly, it usually means there's more she's holding back. And the internet. Oh, it caught on to that instantly. People began speculating. What's really going on? Why does she sound like that? Is something about to come out? The questions kept stacking up, and every answer just led to more curiosity instead of clarity. Then came the turning point. The moment where everything shifted from quiet tension to loud, unavoidable chaos. Something was said, or maybe multiple things were said, that pushed Karlissa past that line, staying silent. And once that line was crossed, there was no going back. She didn't ease into it. She didn't soften her words. She came in direct, loud, and unapologetic. The kind of delivery where you know this isn't just for attention. This is personal. And when she started speaking on Blueface's situation, that's when the real shock hit. Because instead of just addressing the issue, she flipped the entire narrative. She didn't just criticize, she suggested a whole different direction. Bringing Stunna Girl into the conversation wasn't just random. It was strategic. It immediately added a whole new layer to the drama. Now the situation wasn't just about conflict. It was about comparison. And comparisons. Oh, they always make things messier. Because now people weren't just reacting to what Karlissa said. They were reacting to who she said it about. Fans instantly started debating. Some were like, wait, why bring Stunna Girl into this? Others were like, hold on. She might actually be onto something. And just like that, the conversation expanded from one issue into multiple overlapping narratives. At the same time, Blueface himself became a central focus again. Because when your own mother is publicly suggesting a whole different direction for your relationship life, yeah, people are going to talk. It raised questions about what's really happening behind the scenes. What conversations have been taking place privately? And why things reached this point publicly. And then came the reactions, fast, loud, and completely divided. Some fans backed Karlissa 100%, saying she's just being honest and calling out what needs to be said. Others felt like this was way too much to put out there publicly, especially involving multiple people. But regardless of which side people were on, one thing was clear. Nobody was ignoring it. The clips spread everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, it didn't matter where you looked. This situation was there. People were posting, reacting, analyzing, turning it into discussions, debates, even jokes. It became one of those moments where the internet collectively locks in. And just like before, the receipts culture kicked in. People started pulling up old interactions, comparing timelines, looking for clues that might explain why Karlissa said what she said. It turned into a full investigation, with everyone trying to piece together the bigger picture. Meanwhile, the energy kept rising. Because the more people talked about it, the more pressure built around the situation. It wasn't just a moment anymore. It became a storyline. One that felt like it was still unfolding in real time. And the biggest question started echoing everywhere. Was Karlissa just speaking out of frustration? Or was she hinting at something much deeper that hasn't fully come out yet? Because the way she said it, the confidence, the intensity, the lack of hesitation, that didn't feel random. That felt like someone who knows exactly what they're talking about. And just when people thought the situation had already peaked. It didn't just rise, it exploded. The internet didn't simply react. It turned into a full-blown battlefield where opinions were flying faster than screenshots. And every single person suddenly had a front row seat to the chaos. Karlissa Saffold didn't just shake the table, she flipped it, kicked it, and then stood there daring anyone to fix it. Because now, it wasn't just about what she said. It was about how she said it. The tone, the delivery, the energy, it all hit like a viral shockwave. Clips of her rant started circulating at lightning speed, chopped into edits, zoomed in, replayed, and dissected like it was a scene from a reality show finale nobody wanted to miss. Meanwhile, Blueface found himself in the center of a situation he didn't directly start, but absolutely couldn't escape. Because when your own mother is publicly telling the world who you should be with, yeah, There's no hiding from that. Every silence, every reaction, every subtle move became part of the narrative whether he liked it or not. And then there was Stunna Girl, who didn't even ask to be inserted into this chaos, yet suddenly became one of the most talked about names in the entire situation. The moment Karlissa brought her up, it instantly created a comparison narrative that fans ran with. And once the internet starts comparing, oh, it gets messy fast. Now you've got people debating like it's a championship match. Who's better for him? Why would she say that? Is there something we don't know? The conversation shifted from one argument into a whole storyline involving multiple people, perspectives, and theories that just kept multiplying. And speaking of theories, oh, they went wild. Some fans started suggesting that Karlissa's comments weren't just emotional, they were calculated. That maybe she's seen things behind the scenes that the public hasn't. That maybe there's a reason she specifically mentioned Stunna Girl instead of anyone else. And once that idea hit the timeline, it spread like wildfire. Because now people weren't just reacting, they were investigating. Old interviews got pulled up. Past interactions got analyzed. People started connecting dots that may or may not even exist, but that didn't stop them from trying. It was giving full detective mode, with everyone acting like they were one clue away from cracking the entire story open. And then came the reactions from outside the core drama. Influencers, bloggers, even random internet personalities started chiming in. Not directly picking sides, but definitely adding fuel. Subtle posts, shady captions, I'm not saying names but, type of commentary that made it very clear they were watching just like everyone else. It reached that level where the drama wasn't just contained to one circle anymore, it became cultural. The kind of moment where even people who don't usually care about this kind of situation suddenly had an opinion. And of course, the memes evolved. We're not talking basic jokes anymore. We're talking full cinematic edits. People comparing Karlissa's rant to WWE SmackDowns, reality show reunions, even Marvel battle scenes. Dramatic music, slow-motion reactions, exaggerated captions. The internet turned this into pure entertainment, whether the people involved liked it or not. But underneath all that humor, there was pressure building. Because when something goes this viral, expectations start rising. People don't just want drama, they want answers. They want receipts, confirmations, clarity. And Karlissa had already set the stage by hinting that there was more to the story. So now the question wasn't what did she say? It was what is she about to reveal next? And that's where things started getting tense. Because the longer she didn't fully drop whatever she was hinting at, the more the internet started shifting. That same energy that was cheering her on slowly started turning into curiosity, then skepticism. People began asking, okay, but where's the proof? At the same time, others doubled down in her defense, saying she doesn't need to prove anything, that her perspective alone is enough. That sometimes people speak out because they're tired, not because they're trying to present evidence. So now you've got two major narratives colliding. One side demanding receipts, the other side supporting her regardless. And right in the middle of that, the truth, still unclear, still incomplete, still hanging in the air like unfinished business. Meanwhile, Blueface's silence or limited reactions only made things more intense. Because in situations like this, silence isn't neutral. It becomes part of the story. People start reading into it, creating their own interpretations, building entire theories around what someone didn't say. And then there's Stunna Girl again, now fully pulled into a situation that's growing bigger by the minute. Whether she responds or not, her name is already in the mix, already part of the conversation, already being debated across timelines like it's a storyline she signed up for. At this point, the energy wasn't just chaotic, it was unpredictable. Nobody knew what was coming next. Would Karlissa double down again? Would Blueface finally step in and address it directly? Would Stunna Girl respond and completely flip the narrative? Or would something unexpected come out and change everything? Because that's the thing about viral drama. Just when you think you understand it, something new drops and suddenly everything you thought you knew doesn't make sense anymore. And right now, that feeling is strong that it feels like we're right on the edge of something bigger. Like the story isn't finished, it's just paused for a second before the next major twist. And just like that, the noise didn't get louder, it got heavier. Not the chaotic, meme-filled kind of loud, but that tense, uncomfortable silence that comes right after a storm hits. Because now, everybody was waiting, watching, trying to figure out what this actually meant beyond the viral moment. Karlissa Saffold had already shaken the internet. Now the question was, what happens after you flip the whole table? Because let's be real, once you go that hard publicly, there's no clean exit. You don't just say what she said and then log off like nothing happened. The internet doesn't allow that. It replays, rewinds, zooms in, and demands more. And right now, that pressure, it wasn't just sitting on Karlissa, it was spreading to everyone involved, especially Blueface, because suddenly he wasn't just part of the story. He was the story. People started looking at him differently. Not just as the person in the middle, but as the decision maker. The one who now had to navigate a situation where his own mother publicly suggested a completely different path for his life. And whether he responded or stayed silent, either way, people were going to talk. And let's not ignore how that shifts perception. Because when your personal life becomes public commentary, every move starts feeling like a statement. Even doing nothing becomes something. And in this case, that silence started turning into its own kind of narrative. Meanwhile, Stunna Girl remained a wildcard in this entire situation. Because think about it, she didn't initiate this. She didn't announce herself into the drama. Yet suddenly, her name was being thrown around like a headline, like a solution, like a comparison point. And that kind of unexpected spotlight, it changes the energy completely. Fans started debating her role nonstop. Some were like, she needs to speak on this. Others were like, why should she? She didn't even start this mess. And that split, it added another layer of tension that nobody saw coming. At the same time, the emotional weight of everything started surfacing. Because beneath all the viral edits and dramatic commentary, there were real relationships involved. Real feelings. Real consequences. And as much as the internet treats these situations like entertainment, for the people in it, it's not just content. And that's when the tone shifted again. Karlissa's energy, while still bold, started carrying a different kind of intensity. Not just anger, but control. Like someone who realizes just how far things have gone and is now deciding how to handle what comes next. Because once the spotlight hits that level, every word matters. Every move matters. And here's where things took an unexpected turn. Instead of dropping a full, explosive expose like everyone was waiting for, what came out next were fragments, small details, subtle confirmations. Not enough to completely expose everything, but enough to make it very clear that she wasn't just speaking randomly. And that changed everything. Because now the narrative wasn't, is she serious? It became, what else does she know? And suddenly, the internet shifted from loud reactions to deep speculation. People started connecting dots, analyzing those fragments like clues in a mystery. Wait, if this part is true, then what does that mean? Who else is involved? What hasn't been said yet? It turned the entire situation into a puzzle. And once people feel like there's a puzzle to solve, they don't let go. At the same time, alliances started getting complicated. People who were firmly on one side started hesitating. Others doubled down harder than before. It wasn't just about picking sides anymore. It became about perception, loyalty, and who people believe. And that belief, it was shifting constantly. Because here's the reality, in viral situations like this, the truth doesn't always come out all at once. It comes out in pieces. And every piece changes how people see the whole picture. So now, nobody was fully confident in their stance anymore. Not the fans, not the commentators, not even the ones who were loud at the beginning. Because with every new detail, the narrative kept evolving. And that's where the real tension lives. not in what's already been said, but in what's still being held back. Because Karlissa opened the door, but she didn't fully walk through it. And that leaves room for one thing: anticipation and anticipation. That's more powerful than any single reveal, because now everyone is watching closer than ever, waiting for the next move, the next statement, the next hint that could either confirm everything or flip the entire story upside down. And here's the final twist that nobody can ignore. This situation isn't just about drama anymore. It's about control. Control of the narrative, control of perception, control of who gets to define what's real. And right now, that control is shifting back and forth like a game nobody can. Predict that Karlissa proved she has a voice that can shake the internet. Blueface is stuck in a position where every move matters more than ever. And Stunna Girl, she's the unexpected variable that could change everything with just one response. So now we're left with one big question. What happens when all three of those energies collide again? Because if this was just the buildup, then what comes next might not just be messy. Now listen, if you made it all the way through this level of chaos, then you already know this wasn't just drama. This was a full cinematic meltdown with plot twists, unexpected cameos, and enough tension to power an entire reality show season. This is the kind of story that has you refreshing your feed every 5 seconds like you're waiting on exam results, because you know something else is about to drop. Because let's be honest, this situation, it's nowhere near finished. We've got hints floating around, energy still brewing, and way too many unanswered questions just sitting there like a ticking time bomb. And you already know how this goes. The moment one person speaks again, boom. The internet is right back in chaos mode like nothing ever cooled down. So don't just sit there silently watching like a background character. Jump in, smash that like button like it owes you money, because this level of mess deserves full support. And I need to hear you. What's your take? Is Karlissa right for speaking out? Did she go too far? Should Blueface actually switch things up? Or is this whole situation just one big chaotic misunderstanding? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because those debates, oh, they're about to get louder than the drama itself. And trust me, I be reading everything. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you even doing? You're literally missing front row access to the wildest breakdowns, the craziest updates, and the kind of drama that hits different when it's explained like this. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next twist.